Welcome back. The news recently concerning the virus has been very bad, and we're beginning to know the names of people who have been affected. Our Prime Minister's in intensive care. Here in Cardiff, one of our senior doctors has died as a result of the virus, and more families are being greatly affected. We're in Holy Week, and for Holy Wednesday, I want to read this account by Mark. While he was at Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at the table, a woman came with an alabaster jar of very costly ointment of nard, and she broke open the jar and poured the ointment on his head. But some were there who said to one another in anger, "Why was this ointment wasted in this way? For this ointment could have been sold for more than 300 denarii and the money given to the poor." And they scolded her. But Jesus said, "Leave her alone. Why are you troubling her? She's performed a good service for me. For you always have the poor with you, and you can always show kindness to them whenever you wish. But you will not always have me. She has done what she could. She has anointed my body beforehand for his burial. Truly I tell you, wherever the good news is proclaimed in the whole world, what she has done will be told in remembrance of her." This encounter in Bethany is really an act of beauty surrounded by bitterness. Just before this story, Mark tells us of how the religious establishment in Jerusalem are beginning to plot to bring about the death of Jesus. Immediately after this story, Mark tells us of Judas going to them and offering to betray Jesus. Beauty and bitterness caught up with one another. But here the main story is one that in various forms appears in all four Gospels. Only John's Gospel gives the woman a name, suggesting it is Mary, the sister of Lazarus. Elsewhere, she's anonymous. But what she does is eye-catching. She breaks an alabaster jar and pours the precious oil over the head of Jesus in an act of extravagance, an act in which she holds absolutely nothing back. Sensible people, not surprisingly, disapprove, muttering how the money could be used better, suggesting that it could be used to help the poor. We don't have any evidence that they intended to help the poor. I think they just disapprove of the extravagance of the woman's deed. It reminds me how every year, when it comes to Synod, and I travel a 5-hour round journey to Newtown and back, and whilst there, attend a meeting that lasts for 5 or 6 hours, I have a habit of coming back muttering about how I could have used my time better. I could have made the next day's Sunday service better. I could have gone out and done some pastoral care. I could have caught up with some of the administration that I have to do. But I'm not convinced that I would do those things when I think about it. I probably would spend more time having breakfast and relaxing in the morning than I should. I'd probably, in the afternoon, be checking up on the football scores as much as possible. The idea that I would achieve great things without the interruption of the joys of synod, in reality, is an act of self-delusion. You know, Jesus always gives his followers the opportunity to help people in times of need. That's a part of what it means to be a follower of Jesus. But there is a time for acts of love in the world. There is a time for devotion. There is a time for real in-your-face loyalty. The woman shows us what it means to give out of devotion, holding nothing back. And Jesus says that wherever the gospel is preached, her story will be told. So may we treasure this wild story through the days of our lives, and may we be inspired by this extravagant, loving woman.